Welcome back to Beeraj. It's weekend time, and my good friend Adira is back with questions from my fans. So she's doing two sections today. One section of questions from the budget, and the other from savings and investments. So you go, Adira, first. Are we doing savings investment first or the budget first?
I will do the savings and the investments.
Okay. So we are now taking questions on savings and investments.
Okay. So before that, how was your week this week?
Week was very hectic. Budget was there, so 2 days went in giving interviews after interviews after interviews.
Okay.
Today is the first time when I'm relatively free, but I have a lot of work to shoot for our channels.
All right. Well, so yeah. So can you tell us what's the difference between investment and savings?
See, savings is just keeping money idle. It can remain in a piggy bank, it can remain in a bank account. Your bank account gets very little money, which is does not even beat inflation. And even if you give it as a fixed deposit in a bank, you get money far less than what
Mm.
the value of money erodes. Value of money erodes is inflation. So you get a negative real return. So this is savings, but you're accumulating the money nominally. Investments is an objective where you take minimum risk and try to earn a return which is higher than inflation and get a positive return
Okay. So when should one move from savings to investment?
as soon as possible.
Okay.
Money in the bank or money in piggy bank is useless. So you empty the piggy bank regularly, say once a month or once a quarter, and invest.
Why is investing so important, sir?
See, the we today two things has happened. One is that medical science has improved so much
Mhm.
that the amount of time you will live has increased. Now you can take exceptions to the rule, but average an Indian lived for only 32 years in 1947. An Indian today lives for 70 years. In the upper middle class, an Indian lives for 78 years. So by the time when you are of retirement age, an Indian will live up to 85 to 90 years.
Mm.
At the same time, the concept of permanent employment has gone away. So you have your career spans are very shorter. And today, even today, most of my friends are retired. I'm 55. So 52, 51. I live a semi-retired life. There is a possibility if I live to 78, which is 23 years. So how will I live for 23 years?
Okay.
So the investments which I have made should be able to support my lifestyle for 23 years. This is one thing. Second is most people get married and have children. So education is a very expensive thing. Most people have kids, and kids education also costs money. And also it's very important that you insure yourself for your health, because all of us have to visit the hospital at one time or the other, and it is going to cost us money.
Okay. So when did you do your first investment? How did you feel about it, sir?
I did it rather late. I started when I was 17. I started along with my mother. I started investing in stocks when I was about 17 years old. Yeah.
How did you feel about it then?
No, it's very young and I wanted to learn. My parents were, my mother was about 35, 36, or her early 40s. I don't exactly remember. And so she was saving, and I tagged along with her and I kind of learned it.
Wonderful. Okay. So what is deficit financing?
Deficit financing is what government does, is basically that you expect a revenue of 10 rupees, your expense is 13 rupees. So there's a deficit of 3 rupees. You borrow those 3 rupees.
Okay. So has deficit financing happened in India?
Deficit, India has always done a deficit. So that is why you have inflation.
Mm.
If deficit is within manageable limits, you won't have inflation. Since our budget making goes awry, that is goes wrong, we never meet the deficits we promised that we would, and that is why the Reserve Bank has to print more money, and therefore there is always inflation in India.
Okay. So how can they handle and deal with it, sir?
See, there is what is known as an FRBM Act,
Mm.
Financial Responsibility and Budget Management Act, which says states have to keep their deficit to less than 3%. That suppose Tamil Nadu is making a budget on 100 rupees, it does. If it's spending 100 rupees, then it should at least raise 97 from revenue, that is tax and non-tax revenues, and 3 rupees it can borrow. The center should also do the same 3.5%.
Okay.
So for every 106 rupees you spend, At least 100 should come as revenue. That is income from taxes and non-taxes. If you can keep it to between 5 and 6%, you will not have big inflation.
Okay, what do you think is the cause for this to occur, sir?
Because in democracy, like Socrates said about more than 1,000 years ago, what happens is it's like a sweetmeat shop. So somebody promises something, you vote for them. So there are a lot of freebies promised by all parties, including mine, and we need to give those freebies. So I have to spend so that in the fifth year there is an election, I win.
Mm.
This is the reason, because democracy to remain popular, you have to spend and collect less revenue, because people don't want to pay taxes. So people think government can print any amount of money. That is untrue. So in a democracy, if I tax too much, people will not vote for me. And if I don't spend too much also, people will not vote for me. It is our liberal democracy which is the problem for this.
Okay. And what to look for in dividends, sir?
Every company has a dividend paying policy. Like ITC has said it will pay 85% of its dividend. So they have given an interim dividend yesterday. So when you look at a company and expect it to pay dividends, you have to look at the dividend policy of a company. And if you want dividends, you have to make sure that 80 to 85% of the profits that the company makes is distributed as dividend. This is the dividend policy.
Is dividend an expense for the companies?
No, dividend is not an expense for the company. It is a portion of the profit. When a company makes profits, it retains some money and distributes some of the profits. So the distribution of profits is known as dividends. So it is not an expense.
All right.
My good friend Adira will be there tomorrow, and there are some more questions that you have sent for me to answer. Thank you for watching, Beeraj.
Thank you, sir. It was very interesting. The session was interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. If you like this video, kindly share it with your friends and relatives. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel, and please request your friends and relatives to subscribe to the same. Thank you for supporting Beeraj. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below, and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to brechenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support.